In this lesson, we're going to be talking about other types of operating systems. So we've gone through Linux and we've gone through Mac OS, and of course, we've gone through Windows. Eventually, you'll run across, or sometimes you'll run across, other operating systems. And one of the primary operating systems that you would run across outside of those really big names are the various flavors of BSD. Now, BSD actually goes back to the mid 70s or so when people at the University of California at Berkeley created their own distribution of Unix based on the original AT&T version. Now, there's a long history of how that version of BSD got to the point where we've now got OpenBSD and FreeBSD and NetBSD. Now, I've got a BSD operating system here. You can see it's pretty bare bones. One of the things about OpenBSD is that they have long said that they are more interested in security than in other things. So OpenBSD's claim to fame has long been that they don't have holes in their operating system. So they are very secure from the very beginning. As a result of that, they don't install an awful lot. If you were to just do a simple OpenBSD install, you would get a command line interface, and that's all. You wouldn't even get this graphical interface such as it is. You would just be able to log into the console and be able to do things there. You actually have to request to install this piece of software here, where I've got a very basic X Windows installation in a very, very basic window manager called TWM, which is sometimes called the Tabbed Window Manager or Tom's Window Manager. In fact, I don't really even have a lot of ability here to make much in the way of changes so that I could even make the font bigger so that you could really even see what's going on. So very, very bare bones operating system. Now, the thing about BSD is that much like Linux, they are both Unix-like operating systems. So Linux is a Unix-like operating system. It traces its history back to the early 1970s or late 1960s with Unix, and BSD, of course, is a different flavor of Unix. So I've got all of the Unix-like structures, you know, the etc directory, the home directory, the user directory. I've got all of that stuff. One of the big differences is just the kernel or the core operating system. That's a little bit different. Now, OpenBSD is a very bare bones, stripped back operating system. You may be more inclined to run across a system running FreeBSD, which would have more of a modern look to it with one of the modern Unix-based graphical operating systems like GNOME or KDE or XFCE or one of the other GUIs that you would find on a Unix-like operating system. Now, there's also NetBSD as well, and NetBSD, OpenBSD, and FreeBSD all share a common heritage. So from an operating system perspective and the way the file system is and all of the services that are running, they're going to look very similar. But of course, the philosophies are very different. FreeBSD is an attempt to get a desktop-based operating system that regular users could use, and it would be BSD-based. OpenBSD is an attempt to create a secure operating system and not particularly user-friendly unless you know what you're doing and are capable of actually creating the facilities or building the facilities that would make it more user-friendly for you. NetBSD, their really big claim to fame is they run on a lot of different hardware architectures. So primarily you're going to run across Windows, Linux, or Mac OS systems, but every once in a while you may run across a different operating system, and it may be something like OpenBSD or FreeBSD or NetBSD.